This is my first time doing anything like this. Thank you. Thank you. This is a story about an incident that happened when I was 22, long time back, out in the South Shore of Long Island where I grew up. At the time, I had two things going on in my life. I drove for Domino's Pizza, delivering pizzas, and I sang in a rock and roll band. And that was about it. The car I drove was a car we called the Uncle Lee. It was bequeathed to me by my alcoholic great uncle, and it was a puppy shit brown Plymouth Valiant. And because it sort of resembled Uncle Lee, we called it the Uncle Lee, which was, a play on the Dukes of Hazzard as well. So Domino's at the time had this deal where if you got the pizza to someone after 30 minutes, they got a $3 discount. And because I only had two things going on in my life, I was not about to allow that discount to happen. So I barreled through the streets of Long Island, where this took place, at 80, 90 miles per hour, and got those pizzas there on time. So one night, I'm driving back from a delivery down Merrick Road, which is a main thoroughfare there, and I began to cut someone off. They were in my blind spot. I saw them, and I quickly got back into my lane. And very quickly, suddenly, a brand new car, the car I had been cutting off, speeded up beside me. And inside were what we called in 1987 disco boys, which was, and you had hair like Tony Manero and gold chains. And they were having a fit of rage because I almost cut them off. And so we raced each other a little while because they were going to try and cut me off. Well, my car was from 1967, so they pulled up way ahead of me, about 30 feet, and they did a roadblock move. They turned their car directly in front of mine, blocking my way. And so there I am, going 50 towards this car in front of me, and I had a choice. Brakes or gas. I liked the car. As bad as it was my car. And I liked the job. On the other hand, when I was a preteen, I probably had been picked on by people like this. And the only reason that you stop a car like that, you do a roadblock like that, is because you want to fight. Like, the two of these guys are going to get out and kick my ass. So I hit the fucking gas. I plowed into them about 60 miles per hour. I dragged them. They were banging on the window. My head down, my Domino's badge in full view in the windshield. Eventually I hit the brakes. I pulled out of their car. My car, being a 1967, was pristine. Theirs had a giant gaping hole in it, or dent. And so as I began to back up against traffic in the other direction, they decided to pop out. They thought it was a great idea to pop out of the passenger side and chase my car. And I thought then it was a good idea to put the car in drive and chase them back to their car before I turned down a side street. So I get back to Domino's, and there is their now piece of shit in the parking lot. So I liked the job. I wanted to keep it. I pull in, I get out. As soon as I walk in, the driver, who's a big stocky guy, grabs me by the throat. As soon as his hand touches my throat, this 6'5" guy who was waiting behind the counter, who I did not know, grabs him by the throat, picks him up and puts him against the wall. The passenger is trying to break it up. And then my manager walks out from the back. My manager was this little thin guy with red hair, and it turns out he was a black belt. And so the passenger got hit 5 times in quick succession and then pinned to the floor. Now, the cops are coming. The cops are on their way. And believe it or not, my license at this point had already been suspended 2 times over. So I've got to think fast about, what am I going to do? And so I just took it all on myself. I said, look, this is my fault. I'll sign whatever you want. And so I signed the papers. The cops came. They signed the papers. The driver signed the papers. And we went on our merry way. Afterwards, I got 3 calls from this guy. And, I was a pizza delivery guy living in apartments with a friend. The first call, I just said, yeah, send me the bill, $3,000, which I just didn't have. Second call, I said, buddy, this is as much your fault as mine. I can give you half. A couple months go by, and they got a third call. This time, there's a woman yelling at him in the background, and every statement is sort of coming from her to him to me. And I said, look, you know as well as I, this is entirely your fault. You're going to have to sue me. Click. And then I never heard from him again. Now, if there's a takeaway from this, it's that I'm not a loose cannon anymore. This is many years later. I'm a dad, I'm a teacher, I'm a husband. So I ride the brake most of the time. But what I do keep from this story and others like it is sometimes you got to hit the fucking gas.